Carter Page has finally been vindicated. Is it enough to fix the profound damage to his life? He joins us tonight. Carter Page, thanks very much. By the way, why aren't you in Russia drinking vodka with your boss, Vladimir Putin, and speaking in your mother tongue, Russian?
I'm getting ready for some of the biggest legal battles in U.S. history.
Well, that's the thing.
So it's in an area, this jurisdiction, the United States.
You haven't been able to work because you've been busy defending yourself against false charges that you're working for a foreign power. The media magnified those charges, amplified them in some cases, just created them. What are you doing about it?
Well, a lot of it has started in the legal arena, and now we're bringing it to the legal arena. You had Mr. Como, Mr. Swalwell on, that little segment. They are attorneys. I have had, during the special counsel investigation, I had one of the best attorneys in Washington, Tom Buchanan of Winston-Strawn. I learned tremendous amount with the incredible, how to do things the proper way. And so
you're going, Yahoo News is one of the outlets you believe slanders you, correct?
Them, and in conjunction with the U.S. government. There was a change to the law in 2013, and now you can put Radio Free Europe, which is a U.S. government propaganda agency, was spreading the Yahoo News fake story, even when most U.S. news agencies were not really moving forward with it. Radio Free Europe, a U.S. government agency, was
under Obama.
Yeah, yes.
So I just got to ask you one last question. We felt bad for you the whole time. It was so obvious from day one that you were nothing like the way they described. You're so clearly not a Russian agent. You were a naval officer serving this country. Are you bitter about what happened to you?
I'm not bitter. I think it obviously can never happen again. And we really, the litigation which is currently on the horizon, the next 10 days, April 5th, when the U.S. Department of Justice gives their answer related to that same case, is going to be a key testing point. And there's huge battles ahead, and I'm highly confident. I think, what we're seeing now with the new integrity within the U.S. Department of Justice, I'm not bitter at all. I think there is great things on.
I don't know how much you meditate or do yoga or what you do, but you're calmer than I would be. Carter Page, congratulations on your complete and total vindication. No one deserves it more than you do. Thank you. Another man who was relentlessly maligned on false grounds is Michael Caputo, who's also an advisor to the Trump campaign, and he joins us tonight. Michael, thanks very much for coming on. You've been sharing with us through the course of this what it's like to be you. And I wonder, looking back now that you have been, in effect, vindicated, you were not working and neither was anyone working for the U.S. government, for rather the Russian government. How do you feel?
Well, I do feel vindicated, but, I spent Tuesday at the police station in my little village in western New York pressing charges against someone for threatening me on Facebook. This has not ended yet. I'm pretty sure that the rest of us, Carter Page and J.D. Gordon and the rest are all suffering the same slings and arrows I am. We may have been vindicated by the Mueller investigation, but I don't know where we're going to get our reputations back.
So, what can you do? You've lost years of your life. Your family, as you've told us before, has been besieged. You can't work a normal job because of this. Is there anything that you can do to make it right at this stage?
Well, I think that I can try to help the federal government and the Republican Party and the Senate try to uncover what really happened here. I'd love to get back to work. I'm contacting my old clients who had to leave me because of this mark on my record. But now that I'm vindicated, while I really want to get back to work and make money for my family, I really want to inspire some significant change in the special counsel law and other ways so people don't go through this again. I love Carter's, by the way, Carter's optimism. I'm just a little bit more angry than he is, I think.
Well, I'm angry just watching it. I was only denounced as a Russian spy once by a buffoon, that chairman of the House Intel Committee. I can't imagine what your life has been like. I've thought of you this whole time. So congratulations anyway, because this is, whether it feels like it or not, a vindication.
I just want to say one thing, Tucker. Pardon General Flynn, pardon George Papadopoulos, and pardon Roger Stone right now, Mr. President.
That's exactly right.
Absolutely.
I couldn't agree with. Don't wait till after the election. Do it now. They deserve it now.
Do it right now. Do it right now on Twitter.
I agree. I agree. Michael Caputo, thank you.
That would blow some minds, wouldn't it?
It would.
There are a lot of open questions. Why did the Russians offer dirt on Hillary Clinton? Why did the president's son say that he would love to have that help? These questions have not been answered by the summary we got from Bill Barr.
This administration would like to whitewash and simply say no collusion, which is actually not what the report, we believe, says.
Well, Democrats still clinging to Russian collusion tonight, as Attorney General Bill Barr says a version of the full report is coming in weeks, not months. So let's bring in the Republican Senate Judiciary Committee Chairman, Senator Lindsey Graham from South Carolina, who actually had dinner tonight with the Attorney General. Great to have you with us.
It was really good food.
They serve a fine meal over there at the DOJ,
I'm sure he
apparently.
worked all day on it, yeah.
Okay, so can you give us anything about the contours, the size of this report, when we may be able to see it? What do you know? What can you tell us?
I don't know how large it is, but I know what's going on as we speak. The report is being looked at for a couple things. We cannot release grand jury information because that violates the law. So he's going to check with Mr. Mueller to make sure that everything that is grand jury related is taken out of the report because the law requires that. He's going to go to the intelligence community to make sure that we don't release classified information or sources and methods that may jeopardize our national security. He's going to talk to some prosecutors who have cases associated with this to see if anything in the report would undercut them. He's going to do all that in weeks, not months. He's going to turn it over to the committee. Then I think he'll come to the Senate, hopefully sometimes in April.
Do you think the White House will have a chance to look at it before it's public?
He decided that the White House is okay with releasing it without looking at it. Because
the president?
Yeah, I talked to him just a few minutes ago, the president, and he said, let it out. There'll be some things in there I think will be interesting in terms of conversations. But the bottom line here is that Mueller has looked at this for 2.5 years. He's concluded that no one on the Trump campaign colluded with the Russians and that the facts regarding obstruction were insufficient for him to make a decision. Therefore, there is no way you could prosecute a case if the prosecutor is unsure.
As you know, many of your counterparts in the Hill, the other side of the aisle, don't agree. Here is Senator Richard Blumenthal.
There was clearly evidence of collusion, and I want to see the Mueller report, not the Barr summary, for all of the evidence and see how close it came to proof beyond a reasonable doubt.
How does that benefit him?
All I can say is that my friends on the other side, I stood behind Mueller. I thought there was a conflict with Sessions. I thought Sessions couldn't investigate the campaign he was part of. I know the president didn't like that, but it really wasn't a hard call. If there's an accusation against the campaign, how can somebody in the campaign actually oversee the investigation? So Mueller was the right guy. I thought he was a man of great integrity. Every Democrat, including Blumenthal, said he's the perfect guy to do this. The verdict is now in. They just can't take the verdict. It doesn't fit the political narrative. I like Senator Blumenthal, but you'd be doing yourself and your party a great service if you would accept the findings of Mr. Mueller. Mr. Mueller said there was no evidence of collusion between President Trump or anybody on his campaign with the Russians, period.
Well, and the Attorney General quoted that portion of the special counsel in his letter, and yet a number of Democrats continue to say they don't trust the summary or the letter from the Attorney General. That's why they have to see the full report. That suggests to me that they think that the Attorney General is in some way compromised or unable to do his job properly.
They're really hurting themselves. I like all of these people. I stood by Mueller. I made sure that he was allowed to finish his job. I thought that was my job as a Republican, to give him the space to look at an accusation against a Republican president. Now, here's what I would ask my Democratic friends to do. Let this go. There is no grand conspiracy here. Mr. Barr is a great man. He served this country for decades. He's very honorable. He's just telling you what Mueller found after 2.5 years. And I will say this, if they don't accept this and they keep wanting an outcome in spite of the evidence, they're going to get President Trump reelected on this issue alone.
All right, you've talked a lot about the fact that you are interested in tracing back to the origins of this thing, the dossier, the FISA warrants, and everything else. Here is what Congresswoman Catherine Clark, a Democrat, has to say about you poking around in that kind of stuff.
I would say to Lindsey Graham, 37 indictments. 37 indictments coming out of this investigation. I think that he should proceed with caution.
Your reply?
Well, I would say that nobody has been indicted for colluding with the Russians, and that I would say to Ms. Clark, if the Republican Party had hired Mr. Steele to do opposition research against Hillary Clinton, and the dossier prepared against Clinton came from Russian sources that was a bunch of garbage, and it was used 4 times to get a warrant against a Clinton associate, she would be screaming bloody murder. If the 2 people in charge of investigating Clinton liked Trump and wanted Clinton to lose, it would be a very big deal. All I can say to my Democratic friends, if the shoe were on the other foot, and to the media, you would be burning this place down. The double standard here just is to high heaven. There's no way in hell they would give the Republican Party a pass if we did exactly what the Democrats did here, hire a foreign agent to produce a dossier against them that was a bunch of garbage. Why not care about this? Every American should believe and have confidence in the judicial system. Did the DOJ, the top people, the FBI, the top people, not the rank and file, did they take the law in their own hands? Did they produce to the court a document that was unverified to get a warrant just to make sure they could get into the Trump campaign? So the bottom line is, did they take the law in their own hands to create a political weapon with it? This needs to be looked at. It's going to be looked at. And I'm hoping that Mr. Barr will look at it himself or appoint a special prosecutor. I heard your show last night. Somebody's got to decide, is there criminal responsibility on the other side? I'm not capable of doing that. I'm not a prosecutor. We want somebody like a Mueller that can tell the country, I've looked at the FISA warrant application. I've looked at the criminal counterintelligence investigation. I've looked at how the Clinton email investigation was handled. I find fault or I don't. And that person needs to be of the same stature as Mr. Mueller, because when this ends, if we don't look at how it got so off the rails, if we don't look at how this accusation against the president came about, then shame on us, because it's very important to find out and tell the American people, how could the system screw it up so badly?
Keep us up to date as this proceeds. Mr. Chairman, always good to see you.
See you soon.
And thanks for watching last night, too.
Thank you, I did.